Meeting of the Gilroy Unified School District Board of Education will now come to order. We're happy to see all of you here, and we will begin the evening with the flag salute, and I wonder if Trustee Bass would do that for us, please?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll entertain a motion for approval of the agenda at this time.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Would you like to ask this
I
question?
would, but I'm not on green.
You what?
My mic is on, so I'll just
Oh.
say it really loud.
Yeah.
Is that, Jerry, I'm sorry, but my mic won't go on. ¿Hay alguien aquí que necesite intérprete para la junta?
The next part of our agenda is the general public comment. We have 10 minutes set aside for anybody from the public who would like to address the board on any item or any issue within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board that is not listed on the agenda. Members of the public may also address the board on an agenda item before or during the board's consideration of the item. No action can be taken on an item not on the agenda at this time, but may be referred to the administration or put on a future agenda. In accordance with Board Bylaw 9323, individual remarks will be limited to 3 minutes each unless otherwise stipulated. Do we have any? We don't have any this evening. Okay. At this time, I'd like to give you a report on action taken in closed session. The first item that we have to deal with is removal, suspension, expulsion of a student. This is case number 2017-16. I'll entertain a motion.
Move to expel.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Do we have any other further action or motions on this item? Okay. The second case is number 2017-19. I will entertain a motion.
Move to expel. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you. We also had conference with our legal counsel regarding existing litigation in the field of special education. Case number OAH 201-705-0133. And the motion was made by Trustee Good. And the second was by Trustee James Pace. And this was passed unanimously. The third item of business in closed session is public employee appointment. We have two here. We have Glenview Principal and Student Services Coordinator. And the motion was made by Trustee James, and the second was made by Trustee Rosso, and these motions passed unanimously.
And I'd like to say a few words about the appointments so that the public is informed about who was approved this evening for these two positions. So I'll start with the Glenview principal position, and some people in the audience may not know that recently Karina Sapien informed us that she had accepted a position with SEAL, which is an organization we have a great partnership with, as an administrator in their program. And she will continue to work with our district, though, because she'll be assigned to several districts, and ours will be one of them, so we'll still get to work with Karina, which we're really happy about. So that left us with a vacancy about 3 weeks ago, I believe, maybe not even 3 weeks ago. So we internally posted the position. We had a number of applicants, and we narrowed it down to some finalists and then made a selection. So tonight, the board approved the appointment of Christine Pereira Vasquez as our new principal at Glenview. Christine has been in the district for a while. She's an outstanding classroom teacher. I've been in her classroom many times. This past year, she was a coach, academic coach with our SEAL program at Elliott and at Glenview, and has developed very strong working relationships with the Glenview staff and is very familiar with the school. So we're very excited, Christine, to have you join our management team. She may not be so excited right now. She was at a retreat with us all day learning about all kinds of things, so she may be a little overwhelmed right now after what we covered today, but we're really excited about you joining our team, Christine, so congratulations. And it looks like you have your family here. Great. We also have, this is the last person on our team here at the district office in student services. So before I introduce the new appointment tonight, I do want to mention that Anna Polito is here tonight in her first board meeting as our student services director. So we're really happy to have Anna here, who came from the county office. Then we had a coordinator position, who, of course, the coordinator and director work very closely together. So we went through a rigorous interview process, and we've selected Tricia Green, who is coming from the county office also, and has been a school psychologist for many years, filling a number of leadership roles there at the county office. And we're very excited about Tricia joining us in our district and filling out our team. We now have a director, a coordinator, and 2 program specialists, and we're very excited about our team here at the district office. So welcome, Tricia. We're very excited about having you join our district. Anna, could you just stand up so people know who you are? Oh, I have no idea why my phone's doing that. Sorry. It's recording everything I'm saying. Shoot. How do I don't know how to stop it. Sorry.
Shago.
So I may need James' help. Anyway, we're so excited about these 2 appointments. I don't know what it's doing. It's recording what I'm saying. Okay, so that's it, and then I have my superintendent's report too.
Right, okay.
So in July, I've been very busy trying to catch up on principal evaluations and cabinet evaluations. It's a process that I consider a very, very important part of my role as superintendent in the district. So I've been meeting with our principals, cabinet members, and Gina, and I really enjoy these meetings on an annual basis because they bring portfolios, and although I'm familiar with their work, obviously, even 3 site visits a year, I can't possibly know everything they do on a daily basis. And what's great about the portfolios is that I learn so much about what's happening at our school sites and what their goals are, what they've accomplished, what they're thinking about focusing on next year. So invaluable meetings, and I'm about halfway through the 20 meetings, but I'll get there in the next couple weeks. So that's been a big focus for me this month. I've attended some, well, I already mentioned we had our first day of our management retreat today, and we had, great, we have some pictures, thanks, Laura. So we had a speaker we had 4 speakers this morning. 2 of them were our attorneys. Another was from the county of Santa Clara. I keep wanting to say county office, but she's actually from this county of Santa Clara. And a 4th person who was from CAIR, C-A-I-R, and they did a really comprehensive presentation this morning on, it's really about inclusiveness of students. It's kind of an extension of our cultural diversity training that's been occurring for the last year and a half with our management team. This is an extension of that in that we really focused on 2 groups today, the Muslim community and the LGBTQ community, who happen to be the 2 groups in public schools and many other places in the United States that are discriminated against the most. And so we had experts from those two areas, along with our attorneys, reviewing our board policies and laws that are pertinent. And I thought we received some really invaluable information today. I know I learned a lot from participating. And then this afternoon, we talked about personnel investigations and child abuse reporting. And then tomorrow, our departments will have a big role in talking with our management team. And I'll start the day off. I usually do about an hour of some kind of leadership activity, which I'll be doing first thing in the morning. And we have one outside speaker tomorrow, and that's one of the DAs will be coming and speaking to us about issues related to social media and how our kids, what our kids are doing. Using their computers, their devices, and some of the problems that have occurred. We heard really good things about this presentation that was done in the community last year by Angela Alvarado, and so I contacted her and asked if she'd come and do the presentation for our management team, so we'll have that at 9 tomorrow. And by the way, I just was reminded to tell Trish and Christine, you don't have to stay. You can if you want, but you don't have to. Yeah, you've got your whole family here. And we've had a really long day, so you can, I won't be offended at all if you leave.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks.
Good night.
Last night we had our summer school graduation, and it just gets better every year. And there's some people here who had, like Chris Leon, I know had a role in it, but it just went really well last night. I felt like it matched our regular graduations in the importance that we gave it last night, and that's what we want to do. Deb, thanks. I talked about this a year ago, that I really wanted to step up our summer school graduation so that the families and the students in particular felt like they were really graduating from high school, which is exactly what they were doing last night. So it was a wonderful ceremony. I think we had about 20, was it? 40. Wow. Oh, really? Holy cow. So we had a lot of graduates last night, and that's great that, you know, they were able to meet their requirements by the end of our summer school program. Immediately after that, in fact, I was late, went over to the Gilroy High coaches meeting on an annual basis. I've shared this with you before. I attend the 2 coaches meetings. And this one was particularly important, and I need to find out when the Christopher High coaches meeting is so I can do the same. But we were introducing to the coaches our new student and safety our health and safety handbook, which we presented to you here at a board meeting, and we codified in board policy. And I certainly made a big deal out of that out to the coaches last night. That there's no, I wanted to make it really clear. There's no leeway now. This is board policy. This is our district practices. For instance, now we require 3 visits to a doctor if a student has a concussion. That's going to happen at both sites, at both high schools. There's no leeway about that. So there are many things in the handbook. You saw it at our presentation here, but I thought Jennifer Spinetti did a really good job of going through the handbook and emphasizing the rules, and many of them Gilroy High had been doing it all along, so this isn't, a lot of it's not new for them, but we want to make sure our high schools are consistent in our emergency procedures and how we handle injuries and concussions. Another special event that occurred on July 20th that I was able to attend is called the Thingamajig Invention Convention. So our Power School program, actually, I learned that this was started by the YMCA, I guess, in Seattle, Washington, somewhere up north, or maybe it was Washington, D.C. was the first one. But basically, our Superpower Summer Camp kids, over a period of time, created inventions in 6 categories. And I was asked to judge, as well as many other people. There were a bunch of us there judging for about 3 hours. And it was just so much fun. I'm going to go to this every year because the kids were so creative and created some amazing, one category was robots. So there were some amazing robots that the kids created. And the judges had a chance to interview them. They had to write up their project too. So there were like 6 questions they had to answer about their project. And they were judged either individually or in a group, so there were lots of groups that we interviewed, but we had a chance to go around and interview all the kids. There were at least 50 or 60 of these. And then at the end, since I was there, they had me give out the awards, which was fun. And there were lots of special prizes that the kids were given who placed first, second, or third, either individually or in a group. So next year, I hope some of you can come too. I didn't know about it literally till I'd been out for a while, so I didn't know about it till the week I got back. But I'm really glad I was able to go. It was a great event, and I have some ideas about how they can do it even better next year, like a bigger location. It was so crowded, and so they need a high school for this. Apparently they tried but couldn't do it, so I'll make that happen next year. And coming up, we have a lot coming up, way too much for me to tell everybody, but our new staff orientation is on August 10th, and that'll occur in our annex, by the way, because we have, Paul, 85 new staff, roughly? 81 new staff, so we'll be in the annex. I always start with a PowerPoint about the district and then introduce our staff, and a lot of things are planned that day for new staff. And then they'll also be here on August 11th. And then all staff return the following Monday on August 14th. And we'll have a professional development day on the 15th. So the 14th, they're at their sites, and their principals have some things planned. And then the 15th, we have a professional development day. And then, of course, school starts on the 17th. There are a lot of other things happening, but those are the big ones. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Now, where is the Professional Development Day going to be held?
A lot of different places. We'd
Oh,
have
okay.
to send you the schedule.
Okay.
Yeah,
That'd
but
be
we can
great.
do that.
That'd be
They
great.
already have it. We can send it to you, and you're welcome to stop by. I try to get to as many of them as I can. It's hard because they're all over the place.
Okay. And then, what time is the new certificated staff orientation?
Ooh, is it 8:30? Anybody remember, Paul?
Yeah.
I think it's 8. We'll send it. Paul has already developed the agenda, so we'll send it to you.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. That was
Good.
a long report.
I know, for summertime.
And who says nothing happens in the summer, right? Okay, so next we're going to move on to our consent agenda, and I will entertain a motion to approve it. We have several ratifications for service agreements. We have field trips from Christopher High School, and thanks to Christopher High for submitting these together, and also they're so complete. They're really well done. We appreciate that. So I'll entertain a motion.
I would move approval, and I believe there's one resolution in there as well.
Yes, there is a resolution. Mhm. So it will be.
second that.
So, okay, I have a motion and a second, and we'll have a roll call vote. Gina?
Heather Bass,
Yes.
B.C. Doyle,
Yes.
Mark Good.
Yes.
Pat Midgard.
Yes?
James Pace.
Yes.
Linda Pacino.
Yes.
Jaime Rosso.
Yes.
Thank you. Passes unanimously. So this evening, we're in for a treat. We're going to have a report on the Takomachi Japan trip. Staff, students, and parents will provide an update regarding a recent field trip to Takomachi, Japan.
And I want
see
to
they're all here.
thank
Thank
them for
you,
coming because they only had about a week's notice. So I really appreciate it.
Great, thank you. Yeah, yeah, right.
Hello? All right. Good evening. I'm Kermit Schrock, and this is Chris Leong, and many of you know us, but tonight we are not presenting as employees of Gilroy Unified School District. We're presenting as board members of the nonprofit organization, the GTSEP, Gilroy Taco Student Exchange Program. And so tonight we're here to present a little bit and to have hopefully, we don't talk too much, so our students who went on the trip this year can talk a little bit to you about the trip. Just a quick little history about our organization, GTSEP. The Gilroy Takomachi Japan sister city relationship started in 1988. I can't tell you much about the beginnings of that. Some of you may actually know more than I do and how that originated. However, when that did originate, one of the things that was looked for was how can not only Taco bring students to Gilroy, but Gilroy takes students to Taco. And so Phil Robb, the choir director, stepped up and said that every few years he would take the choir from Gilroy High School to Tacomachi. And so he would often do trips at spring break about every 4 years, starting in 1989. I think my brother-in-law went on that first trip in 1989. And so about every 4 years, they would take 30 to 35, 37 students and perform in Tacomachi, do a little trip to Tokyo or other parts of Japan as part of that trip. But it was really around that sister city relationship. And then all those years, right, Tacomachi would bring students here to Gilroy, which would be hosted by different students and families. I think some of you have hosted perhaps as they've come over the past years. However, then around the mid-2000s, 2006, 7, 8, Mr. Robb knew that he was nearing the point of retirement sometime soon, and he had decided that he was wanting to take his choirs to some other places as well. And so he approached some of us. He had actually invited myself to go on one of those choir trips. I think it was 2006. We took 37 students to Tacomachi and traveled around, and we got to hear those choir performances. And so he approached myself as well as some of the CIRs. The CIR is the Coordinator of International Relations, which Tacomachi hires. Each year they hire a young adult from Gilroy or the Gilroy area, Gilroy, Morgan Hill, Hollister area, to work in their sister city office to teach English, to help organize those trips back to Gilroy. Ms. Bass, were you a CIR at one point? All right.
Over the year, the choir was born. So,
That's what I thought,
94,
exactly.
correct.
Yeah, exactly. So that has been going on for quite a number of years. And so I got off track, sorry. But anyway, in conjunction with the CIR of the organization, some of those ex-CIRs worked with Mr. Robb and came together, invited myself, my wife, and some other people in Gilroy to start this nonprofit organization. And so about 8 years ago, I think this might be our 8th trip, we decided we would develop this organization to continue that process of taking students each year from the Gilroy Unified School District to Tacomachi, Japan. Not only as a tourist, but as ambassadors of Gilroy, right? So part of the job is that they get to learn about Japan. They'll tell you about some of the things they learned, the things they did, but also to be ambassadors from Gilroy in Tacomachi. Many of them will have hosted students when they come here, and hopefully now in the future, host on future trips as they come out, right? Each October, Tacomachi brings middle schoolers, and usually around the 1st of January, bring a group of high schoolers. One of the challenges actually been for us is Tacomachi is actually shrinking in size. I think their high school may be down to under 200 students, under or 100? So when we went to, you had 58 students. Yeah, so under 100 students now. So as the town shrinks, it's a small agricultural community. Many of the young adults are moving to the cities, moving to other areas, and so the town is suffering those difficulties right now. The high school may close in the next couple of years, and students will go to neighboring towns for high school. We've always wanted to bring more students. We have 6 of our 8 that we took this year, and one year we took 10 students, and Tacomachi said, you know what, we cannot place that many students every year. And so they said, could you bring just 6? And we said, how about 8? Because we have lots of students that are interested, lots of students that apply, and we definitely want to give as many students the opportunity to have this sister city experience. So I think I'm going to stop talking with that and let Mr. Leong say a few words, and we'll get the kids up here.
So it is definitely hard to decide who's going to go to Tacomachi every year with our chaperones. And it is kind of a grueling process. We have students apply who are sophomore or junior age from all 4 high schools, Mount Madonna, Gilroy High School, Christopher High School, and GECA. And we go through those applications. We do a paper screening first. There are certain criteria they need to meet. And then we have and that's in October, and those are due right before Halloween. And then we have interviews for all those students that we've paper screened and put through to the process. And then we arrive at the 8 students. And we do like to have a little mix of students so that we're not, just all Gilroy, all Christopher, all Mount Madonna, all GECA, things like that. So there's a nice mix, and this year I was very happy that there was a 4-4 divide between Christopher and Gilroy, so, no favoritism at all. And, some of the students that we've had have been past ASB presidents. I think the last 5 years, Mr. Rob told me. We've had Louisa this year as my ASB president for Gilroy High School. The year prior, we had Maggie Pickford from Gilroy High School. The year before that, we had Jesse Calderon from Christopher High School. We've had Gilroy Garlic Festival Queens and Princesses, Lexi Cartwright, who was also our board representative last year for Christopher, last 2 years actually, and Maggie Pickford as well. Board reps, again, we've had, Gilroy High School has had the last 4 years with Sloan Pace, Eric Heiser, gosh, I had all this in my mind when I came up here, Andy Garcia and Jaylene Ariano. So, again, we've had those students. We've had former coordinators of international relations, Laura Doty from Gilroy High School from, a long time ago.
Around 2010, I think. Yeah,
2010
yeah, exactly.
graduate. We've also had all of our board members are mostly Gilroy High School, or Gilroy Unified teachers and staff. We've had Gilroy administrators go, like Dr. Marco Sanchez from Gilroy High School. And always just quality students, and it is a joy to work with these students every single year. And I love doing this with them.
Yeah.
And I'm actually now going to introduce our students this year, and I'm not sure why the slide didn't go over. Oh, there we go. From Gilroy High School, we have Gabby Avila. We have Luis Felipe Cruz Velasco. Rachel Gallagher is unable to attend tonight. She's on vacation with her family. Luisa Mantilla. And then from Christopher High School, we have Cameron Crowley, Emmanuel Duran, Isabel Mena, and Natalie Roberts, who is at work right now. And they're actually going to come up here and talk about a few points for us.
Is it on the screen? Okay. Hajimemashite, it's nice to meet you. Watashi wa Isabel Mena desu. My name is Isabel. Christopher Koko no 3 nensei desu. I am attending Christopher High School currently, and I'm going to be in my 3rd year. So during the training sessions, I loved this part because as a group we were able to connect. I remember the first meeting, we were so separated. You had Gilroy at one table, and then the rest of us at Christopher sitting together who were from Christopher. And then by the end, we were all together, and I think we formed great bonds. During the training sessions, we were able to practice the language that is used in Japan. And we were also able to get, we were also able to experience what it's like to live, what it would be like to live there. One of our training sessions, we created PowerPoints on specific parts of the lifestyle. And my favorite PowerPoint was, I think, by Luis, who did the toilets? Luis. And we basically got to see something that's not over here, and they had cool toilets, which is something I found really interesting. And then also in one of our training sessions, we got exposed to the types of foods there. So we went to Ninja Sushi, and thank you to these two. We got to try different types of foods that personally I wouldn't have think of trying myself. So I think this was a great experience for me, just the training sessions alone.
Okay. So what does it mean to become an international ambassador? Well, basically, each and every one of us as individuals took that stand to go to a different foreign area where we've never been, where we've have very little knowledge of. And basically what we did is we stood there as teachers, because we come from a different area where a lot of things, right here in America, it's very diverse. And we were able to teach our beliefs, our culture, our language. I was able to teach my foreign host mom my other second language, Spanish. It was pretty fun. She picked up a few words like numbers. And basically, we would share our experiences here, and we would encourage our friends back in Japan in Takamachi to sign up and apply to come here in Gilroy in October and when else? January. And yeah, it's very fun. I'm sure you guys have something to say on being an ambassador.
It's really just showing Takamachi what it's like to be a community member in Gilroy, and our memories here that we've made, garlic festival, activities that we've done in school, and just sharing those experiences with the Takumachi community members.
Tell us about that photo.
Here in this photo, we went to go visit a landmark in Tokyo. It was Kamakura. And basically that is the giant Buddha, and it's very well known over there in Japan. And there we met a small group of students from Japan, and I forgot why they went there. They went to practice English, and they brought us little slips which told us where they're from, and they had a lot of questions in the back that they wanted us to answer. And oh yeah, and it was just like for them to practice English. It was a very fun experience, and it was a very sweet thing to do. And yeah.
Hello, my name is Luis Cruz, again. And for bonds, I guess this is like the most special thing, like from going to Japan, and especially Takumachi, because you got to stay with a Japanese family, which you could basically, I guess, call like a second family, which like they were to me, especially because they had they had a 14-year-old son, so, and I'm 16, and I've always wanted a little brother, so that was like amazing. And they also had a 5-year-old daughter who actually turned 6, I think, last week. And so I friended them on Facebook, so I like talked to them, and then I sent her like a happy birthday message to her for me. So I'm saying that we created really strong bonds in Takumachi, and that helped us, strengthen the relationship of our sister cities from Gilroy and Takumachi. So, and also when like the Takumachi students come to Gilroy, like my host brother, he's coming in October, so I already asked my parents if I could host him, and they said yes. So that would like, build up our bond that we already created. And like most of us, we created like really strong bonds with our families. And when we had our sayonara, which are a goodbye party in Takumachi, some of us cried because we were sad to be leaving, and it was really amazing to create these kinds of bonds that you wouldn't have the opportunity to create like anywhere else. So yeah.
Memorable moments. There's too many in the trip. It would take me hours to explain all of them, so I just picked a few for you guys. So, you don't know morning rush hour until you go to Tokyo. We were in the train, and you are literally sandwiched between strangers, but it's not as awkward as it is here, because they're really respectful in Japan. They'll say sorry if they bump into you, but you are literally like this in the train in the morning rush hour. It was crazy. And then another one, this was also in Tokyo. On our third day, we did karaoke, and I didn't realize this, but I guess a lot of like Japanese people like to do this coming home from work, just as a way to wind down. So it was really cool to do karaoke there. And then we went to the fish market, and I think it was you. She ordered crab brain, and she's like, "You guys should try it." We're like, "Yeah, okay." So we all tried the crab brain, and it was just a good way to experience Japanese culture by going to the fish market and trying typical Japanese cuisine. And then last one. So we were on Enoshima, which is like an hour south of Tokyo, something like that. And we were trying to take a cool picture. So someone was standing up on the observatory tower with the camera, and we're all trying to spell out GT-SEP with our bodies. And we're all sitting there, and it didn't come out very well. I was the G, and that was really hard to do. And all the Japanese people are kind of just like,
They're just laughing at me.
okay, these American tourists. But yeah, there's too many memorable moments. Those are just some that stuck out to us, I think.
Hi, I'm Luisa, and I'm going to be talking about, thank you, hosting. So, there you go. So this past year, GTSEP reached out to us, and this was before I knew that much about Takamachi, and they asked us if we wanted to host, and we were like, oh, yeah, sure, we'd love to, just to try something new. So this is Miyu, and Mia and I hosted her last year. So when she came, I didn't really realize how different Japanese culture was. Like, she was like, how do you turn on the shower? I'm like, oh, like, everything's just completely different for her. And just the scenery, like, she would just look out the window and see everything so differently. And that really opened my eyes, like, oh, wow, it's so different, like, different countries, different cultures. And it also made me more excited to go to Japan when I went the next year, because I already knew somebody that was there, already familiar face. And when I got there, she greeted me. She already had a gift for me, so we exchanged gifts because they're very giving. And it was an amazing opportunity for me, and I'm going to host this year, and I think all of us, or a lot of us, want to host from the bonds that we made with our own family. So, yeah.
Takamachi is an amazing town full of so much greenery and such caring people that volunteered to host us. I was lucky enough to have 2 host families due to some complications with sickness of my original. So I was able to get 2 different cultures in Takamachi. Well, same Japanese culture, but just 2 different styles of it. On our free day, I was able to spend half my day with the Tamioka family, which was Luisa's host family, and I got to stay with her for about half the time I was there. And then we went cherry picking, and I met up with my host family, the Hagiwara family, and we cherry picked, which is amazing. They have these giant cherry trees all over Tako and the neighboring towns, and you're just able to get baskets and pick cherries, as many as you want. Basically, we were able to get them for free. I just thought that was amazing. There's so much agriculture there and so much caring people that just are very giving. I just want to explain also the sayonara party that Luis also talked about. This was a very emotional night for all of us, and instead of saying sayonara, which is goodbye or see you later for a very long time, they said see you again throughout the night, which is amazing, and just it made us feel that we would come again more and more. This night was very special to all of us, and each one of us did a speech. I did my speech first, and I was the first one to bawl out crying because I would miss my entire family, both my families. I had both of them stand up next to me. And it was just a very special trip and a very special time that we got to spend over there. Thank you.
I think it's important to recognize there is some tourism in the trip, right? You heard about Tokyo and some of the fun and visit, but I think that the real reason we go is the bonds they form. That even in the short time, we're only there for 9-10 days. We're only in Tako for 5 days, but those 5 days feel like a lot more by the time they leave, and that's the reason they're there. They're part of our mission is to have them be back here. You heard Mr. Leong say that we have just sophomores and juniors. We intentionally choose students that are going to return to Gilroy for at least 1 or 2 more years of school so they can be back here, sharing back with their fellow students in Gilroy Unified, and then any other time that they're in the community, right, and through their future lives. So thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to present the team. I don't know if you have any questions for us or for any of the kids, but otherwise, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Questions, trustees? Any questions?
I'm just very glad that this continues to persist. I'm really, like you said, with the city dwindling a bit, but always remember that you guys are the experts in Japan now, and people are going to look to you for information. So I really appreciate your positive comments. It's wonderful.
And I want to thank you for coming this evening. We know that you're still on summer vacation, but we really appreciate you coming in and telling us about your trip.
They just got done working Garlic Festival to support GTSEP. Some of our funds that come in, we have them work hours at the Garlic Festival. So part of our mission is also to make this trip as affordable as possible for students in Gilroy. So each year, between different donations that we get from community members in Gilroy, from the hours that are worked at Garlic Festival, where we try to pay for at least, we haven't been able to pay for half, but a good percentage of the trip for every student to make it as affordable as possible for Gilroy students, so that any student feels free to apply with our organization. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Okay, moving on in our agenda. Item 6B, Gilroy Unified School District initial proposal to the Gilroy Teachers Association for reopeners for the 2017-18 school year. And Paul Winslow will be presenting this for us.
Thank you so much. Good evening, President Midgard, members of the board, and Dr. Flores. As mentioned today, I am here to provide the Gilroy Unified School District initial proposal for a successor agreement to the Gilroy Teachers Association, and we are opening up 3 articles. Article 23, which is salaries, Article 25, which is fringe benefits, and Article 33, which is the term of agreement. The current GTA collective bargaining agreement did expire in 2017, so this will be a successor agreement, and we're hoping to have at least a 2 or 3 year agreement during negotiations. And this is an information item. But if you have any questions, I would definitely love to answer them.
Questions at this time, board members? Okay, thank you for that. And that is an information item. And the next item, a request for provisional internship permits, and this is an action item.
Yes, thank you again. And I guess I'm here for half the page, so I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. So today for this request, we are requesting that the board approve several provisional internship permits. And if you're wondering why these are on the action item part and they're not just informational, provisional internship permits, according to the CTC, must be approved by the Board of Education as a part of the application process. So the Human Resources Department is making the recommendations for 10 provisional internship permits that we're proposing for the 2017-2018 school year.
Do we have questions? Yes. Trustee Paceno.
Could you go over what CTC is, please?
Sorry, the California Teaching Commission on Credentialing, or teacher credentialing. So the state of California requests that this actually be an action item, because as the teachers go to the county office to eventually start the process of this permit, they actually have to attach your minutes to it. So it's required by the commission.
Okay. So seeing no questions, I will entertain a motion.
Move approval?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. And Mr. Winslow gets to do the next item also. Variable term waiver request for Katie Carey, South Valley Middle School 8th grade math teacher. This is an action item.
Thank you. So like the provisional internship permit, a variable term waiver is a different type of what the state calls a substandard permit or a substandard credential. And so we're making the recommendation that the board move for approval for the variable term waiver for Katie Carey, who we are planning on having being a teacher at South Valley for the 2017-2018 school year.
Move approval.
Just a second.
Sorry.
Trustee Paceno.
Ms. Winslow, you used the term substandard.
Correct.
Can you describe that a little bit? Because I don't think it's probably what the public would assume that means.
Yeah, so the state of California divides credentials into 2 levels. They call it a standard credential and a substandard credential. So any type of permit or emergency credential falls under what the state classifies as substandard. And there's a variety of different credentials and permits that exist within that category.
Okay, now I'll entertain a motion.
Move for approval.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. And the next item E, variable term waiver request for Daisy Zavala, Rod Kelly Elementary School, fifth grade dual immersion.
Thank you. So this is the final request we have for tonight. This is also a variable term waiver. This variable term waiver is very specific to add the B to the CLAD portion. So this authorizes employee Daisy Zavala to teach in a bilingual course. So this waiver is isolated specifically to allowing her to teach in Spanish as a primary language within the dual immersion program at Rod Kelly.
Okay. Questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next part of our agenda has to do with facilities and maintenance.
It's
We
not
have-
even 9 o'clock.
I know.
Or 10. Or 10.
And Mr. Jim Bombachi will be presenting this information for us. Starting with A, approval of ratification of contract with RMA Group for testing and laboratory services for the Gilroy High School solar project.
Thank you very much, President Midgard, Dr. Flores, and board members. Glad to see everybody here. Everybody's back from vacation. Everybody's well rested, I take it, so we can go down the list quickly and go home. The first one is the approval of ratification of contract with RMA Group. It is for the testing and laboratory services for the solar project. Of course, the solar project is well underway, should be completed actually in about by the 17th of August. So we did have to bring this as a ratification, and we do have to have, of course, a testing lab for every DSA, Division of the State Architect project that we have. The second one is also the testing lab, and the second one is RMA Group also. We did solicit about 10 different groups and selected this one. But it is for the Christopher High School solar project, which is well underway as well.
Can I ask you a quick question on those two?
Absolutely.
I noticed that the source of funding is the general fund.
That is correct.
So could you talk about that, please?
I'm gonna allow Alvaro Mesa.
Okay.
Mr. Mesa.
I was just curious, because so many of our projects come from Measure E or Measure P, and this is the general fund, so.
Thank you, Madam President. If you recall, the PPA structure was such that it was essentially the savings were recognized by the general fund. So it's only logical that every expense gets recognized to the general fund, since that's the operating fund that will recognize the savings.
Okay, just wanted to check.
Yep.
Thank you. Mhm.
Thank you.
Jim, you said should be done by August 17th.
Yes.
Say that again, but with more emphasis.
Well, the way it's gonna work out is that at Gilroy High School, the poles are completed. They're actually in already. And the bollards are in, but the tops won't be put on over at Gilroy High School, at least probably it'll probably take about a month to get all those on and get all the wiring hooked up. Christopher High School, the pool parking lot, we expect to be 100% completed by August 17th in that parking lot. And then we're taking up about 50% of the south parking lot, and that should be completed shortly after the 17th. They go up really fast. There'll be some electronic. We'll be trying to put fences up to keep the people out, but we always said that with those particular solar pieces were going to be, as long as we got the stands up, we could park in the lots, and then we would just simply go forward through the school year, just fencing off some of the pieces. But MBAR-C is the ones that are putting up the poles, the arrays, and so on and so forth. And so far, they're just doing a wonderful job, and I have every confidence that they'll be done on time.
You expect parking on August 17th to be a non-issue. Is that true?
That is correct. Okay. That is correct. In both parking lots.
The lines are painted?
The line, well, you're talking about two different things. You're talking about Gilroy?
Yeah.
Gilroy, we're paving Saturday. The lines will be painted. The parking lot will be open 100% on the 17th.
That's what I wanted to hear.
And then they'll come back in and start putting the covers on them. But yes, the parking lot is open on the 17th. We convinced them to bring in dual pavers to make sure that we had enough time for it to off-gas so we could paint it so it'd be open on the 17th. So, yeah. And we're looking very good for that. We're actually a touch ahead. I was wondering why they couldn't get the pavers in tomorrow, but I guess it was the ordering of the asphalt, so. And then we have another one is the approval of the ratification. And unfortunately, these are all ratifications, obviously, because we haven't had a board meeting since June. And these had to move forward. So I apologize for that, but it's the only way we could do it. Approval of ratification of contract with Earth Systems Specific for the geotechnical survey of the new school site. That's where they go out and they drill the holes and figure out what the depths, the different grade of soils is going to be, what the soil makeup is, the structures, and what our foundations are going to look like. So that we absolutely have to have that ready for our bridging document, which is the RFP for the design build project, which is actually going to the board on the 17th for its first, for the draft. So all this has to be done ahead of time. We're starting to get pressed on time for this project, actually. We got to get this thing to the board, I think, on September 7th for a final, 60 days for the time period for them to do their proposals, award, and then so on and so forth. And I'll explain that more at the next meeting. Yes.
Question, I think it's probably for Mr. Mesa. Can you just refresh our recollection on the financing structure for these solar projects?
Sure. Thank you, Trustee Good. So the power purchase agreement is a structure for both parking lots, the Christopher High School and the Gilroy High School. The Gilroy High School has embedded in the total cost of the project $1.4 million for the reconstruction of the pavement project of the parking lot. So on top of that, we also have the solar project for Christopher. So the way that it was handled, both projects as well as the reconstruction of the parking lot was embedded into a portfolio, so to speak. And so the net savings, because remember the PPA structure is over a 20 or 25-year term, I believe. And so it had to be positive in year one cash flow, and we're expecting $38,000 positive cash. That's assuming that the construction or reconstruction of the Gilroy High School parking lot is at $1.4 million. So if it goes over 1.4 million, then we'd be coming back to talk with you about why it went over. But those would be unforeseen conditions that at this point we haven't had any significant unforeseen conditions in the parking lot, like hitting water, for instance, would be one of them. Compaction issues, all those things.
Right, and I'm just wondering, the PPA agreement, wasn't the company that we've contracted with, aren't they supposed to be paying for?
Not for these two things, the district has to hire, and then essentially they get paid back by the savings of the PPA. So Jerome's, the IOR and the Earth Systems piece, and the testing, I think, those are things that we have to hire ourselves.
How many more additional expenditures are we going to be responsible for that the PPA agreement's not going to pay for?
So it actually does pay for it. It's just that we have to get it in front of the board, approved by the board, and it's all embedded in the total cost. So for instance, the $1.4 million parking lot, that's a total price tag, which includes some of these soft costs, but it's already embedded into the savings, estimated savings. So when we say year one cash flow was $38,000, between all three projects, really, all these costs, soft costs, were associated in that. We only worry about it if it goes over 1.4, for instance, for the reconstruction of the parking lot, if that makes any sense. So all these are coming to you so that we can say to DSA, we are on record hiring the IOR, the testing lab, et cetera.
What exactly is the company we contracted with paying for?
Everything else, directly. And they're also paying for this. They're paying for this as well. We're just having to take action so that we're on record hiring the architect, hiring the testing lab.
There's going to be the reimbursement.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's
Right.
what, yeah, okay, great.
Yeah, I can see how it's confusing because you're seeing all these approve, and yet it's a PPA structure, which you're not used to seeing. But we're doing everything by the letter of law, which says that we're required to hire the inspector of record, the testing lab, et cetera.
But
Fantastic.
just to emphasize, these are included in the 1.4.
Absolutely, yep, in the soft
It's part of
costs.
the cost.
And if we had one of these come to us and it would go in excess of the 1.4, you had mentioned that at that time.
Yes.
So maybe what might be good for in the future is to give us, like you do for a lot of your projects, is a running total.
Project matrix?
Yeah.
Okay.
With the dollar amounts, and then we'll know.
Yep, thank you.
Great, thank you.
Okay, where are we? Approval of contract increase with Jerome R. Zelinski Construction for the, this is an increase for the Rod Kelly Elementary School Fire Alarm Project. The reason that we had an increase is because in order for us to get the job on time, we had to start 2 months early. And once again, DSA, if the inspector of records on is, if we have a project going, the inspector of record has to be on site. So we started early, and just as a matter of fact, we finished testing 2 days ago. 100% test on the fire alarm systems, 100% completed on the fire alarm systems. We have a little bit of work left to put up a couple of clocks and paint a few conduits. Should be done early next week. So that one we did get on time, and we're very, very, very happy with that. We did have about 100, 120 inspection panels that we had to put up in order to get to the pieces that we had to do. So it was just a phenomenal amount of work in a very short period of time. So it worked out very well. The next one is approval of ratification of contract with Jerome R. Zelinski for construction inspector for the Gilroy High School Science Lab project. As you know, board approved the science lab project or the bids for the award of bid for the science lab project at the special July 5th meeting. And so we started immediately after that, and there was not obviously another board meeting where we could come as a regular item. And we're well into that project. We're finishing up the pony wall. Cabinets are gonna be running a little bit late, but that project's on time, and it's definitely on budget, so it's a really good looking project also. And I don't know if you noticed the price, but basically his typical price is about $9,000. You know, it's because he has so many things to do, and he dropped this one to, I believe it was around $2,000, $2,500. So he did us a pretty good favor. So we actually saved on all three of these are about the price of one. So that worked out really well for us. Next one is going to be the approval or ratification contract with Barton Overhead Door for the purchase and installation of the roll-up door for Gilroy High School Center. It's actually not a motorized roll-up door. It is just a roll-up door. It's a chain operated. Because we had to use stainless steel, drove the price up a little bit, but you can't use a motor because it's heavy, so you have to use the chain system, which is really easy to, just pull the chain, bring it up. Right now, it's a twist system where they put a little piece on and twist it. So I was trying to make it a little easier for them by putting in the motor. The motor was very negligible price, but the door became too heavy. So that's the solid door that'll be going in between the eating area and the serving area at the student center to kill the noise in that area. And the last one, of course, is approval of contract with Jerome R. Zelinski, again, for Christopher High School, the Art and Science Lab project. That came out of DSA. We'll be talking about that a little bit on Monday, and hopefully we'll get back check and get that thing underway in September like we were hoping to, starting that sometime in September. So we bring, we put the IOR on ahead of time because he has to open the box before we can start the project. So next meeting, I'll be actually asking for authorization to solicit bids. Then we'll be getting our bids. But we usually get our IOR ahead of time, inspector of record ahead of time, because he has to open the box before we can start the project. That takes about 10 days ahead of time, so.
That's it, correct? Do we have
That's the last one I have.
Questions?
I would move approval of items 7A through G.
Second.
A motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously, thank you.
Thank you very
Mr.
much.
Mambachi, and please thank your staff for all this summer work.
We're working all weekend. They're really.
While everybody else is in the Bahamas, you guys
yeah,
are really
And I've been admiring
rambling,
the pictures on the dish website.
as a matter of fact, we are, yes.
Yeah, I saw the pictures on the dish.
Well, we also have a time-lapse camera at the parking lot that I was just talking to Laura about. We're gonna try to get the film from that and get that on there, so you can see all the activities that happen to get that parking lot done on time. it's quite a show.
Thank you so much.
And I wanted to mention to the board, we normally have walkthroughs in the summer, and we weren't able to do that. So we are going to schedule one next week, because there's been a lot of work, summer work. So we want to do a walkthrough. Anyone's welcome, of course. We'll let you know when we schedule it.
Is that different from the one on the 10th? We have a meeting scheduled, subcommittee on the 10th?
It's just our regular meeting.
Yes, just our regular
That's
subcommittee.
just regular, okay.
That'll be a lot of update as well. We're going to have the new school group, WLC is going to come in and talk about the new school, give us the latest update on that as well.
Oh, good, okay.
So everybody knows exactly what's going on there. We'll be talking about a few things, but the walkthrough will be, I'm hoping it's ahead of that, so everybody kind of has a good idea of
see
what we're
the
talking about
projects.
at that.
That'd be great.
different
I'd like to
projects.
encourage other board members, if you're able to go on the walkthrough. It really gives you a good feel for what happened this summer.
Yep.
And as we're a touch late this year, most of them will be really close to being done, so it'll be a good time to actually
Right.
see it.
Right. Trustee Pacino?
For the information that's coming to the facilities committee about the new elementary school, will that also be coming to the full board?
The full board will be hearing that on the 17th. That'll be coming in as a draft, and then it'll be coming in as a final on September 7th, yes. You'll be hearing the whole, actually, you'll be hearing a little different one than we're hearing. We have the basics, but they're gonna be having 3D and put on quite a show for the board, so, yeah. You're welcome.
Okay, we're on item 9, upcoming and new referral agenda items. Board members will review the upcoming board agenda calendar and discuss proposals for future discussions and possible agenda items. So if you want to refer to our board agenda calendar that Gina so nicely puts together for us. Maybe, if I have that piece of paper with me. Yes, a couple of months ago, we talked about the committee that we were going to put together for the superintendent's evaluation. And we had 3 people volunteer to be on that, and then one of you graciously said, I don't need to be on it, because we had 4 people actually, so. We have, I think, trustee Pacino, trustee Good, and perhaps trustee Bass.
Was it me after all?
Yes.
Surprise!
Was.
And I also was wondering about putting together something for the recruitment of board members.
We're going to bring that to the next meeting.
Excellent.
We'll bring a rough draft, and then you can approve or disapprove.
Trustee Case, since you have been in charge of the superintendent eval, if you would like to be on that committee, either trustee Good or I will gladly.
Thank you, I saw that in the minutes, but I am happy to have you serve, and I'm happy to provide you the documents and whatever else you need that I would have.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Do we have any other referral items for future agendas? Not at this time? I'm sure they'll come. So, do we have any announcements from board members, any reports, anything you'd like to share with us? I would like to share a few notes from a meeting that we had on June 13th. I don't think we reported this. Roland Velasco and the city manager, Gabe, Linda Pacino, Debbie Flores, and I, we met. Just a few of the items we talked about with the mayor. First Street, it's a $13 million project.
But they only had
And-
1 million available.
Yes. So, talked about Alexander Place, and if you take the dispatch or take it online, there was a pretty extensive article in the paper last week about Alexander Place, so it can answer a lot of your questions. Why do you have that look on your face?
Because there were some unattributed statements in there relating to the district, and I don't think they were accurate.
Okay.
Specifically what schools the kids are
That
going to be
is,
going to.
that is correct. That is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it did mention Los Animas, yeah.
It said Silver Side.
Right.
It is Solar
It is Solorzano.
It is. No, it's Solorzano.
Solorzano.
No, it's Los Animas, Solorzano, Gilroy High.
Oh, it is?
And I think that's what it said.
I thought it was gonna be Glenview.
No.
It's Los Animas. It's always been Los
Yeah,
Animas.
it's always been Los Animas.
They have 9 empty classrooms. And Glenview has no empty classrooms. So if we were to add capacity at Glenview, we do have a pad for 3 portables, which we may someday need, especially if the new school is delayed. But we've always planned for them to be housed at Los Animas, because that's where we have the classrooms.
Right, but I can see that capacity being greatly exceeded by that project.
And eventually, we'll have a new school that will have to draw new boundaries of who goes to Los Animas. I mean,
Yeah.
it'll be a shift, unfortunately. It's, and we'll have to probably add capacity at Glenview if we continue to grow. And we've talked about this in our facilities committee
Right.
several times.
So the mayor commented that the first apartment should be ready in January of 2018. You might have read that. 270 units. They're accepting applications starting mid-July.
The newspaper said there's already, well, we heard it in several places, 3,000 applications already.
Yeah, I heard that they had already filled them, but I guess not.
They hadn't filled them yet. The process was taking the next step, but they had 3,000 people express interest.
See, that's part of the problem. There's a plethora of rumors, even some that were mentioned in the article and really never put to rest. So no one really knows what's going on.
Well, I believe, I can't remember if it's James or Alvaro actually contacted Alexander Place, and they confirmed the 3,000 applications have been received for, I thought it was 247 apartments, but anyway, a lot of it, because I guess there was some interest in telling our employees about this project, but if there's already 3,000 applicants, that's going to be tough.
What would be nice if we looked into, and again, this is in the guise of future agenda item, because otherwise we're going to get outside
Yeah,
the scope of
that's
our
true.
meeting.
Yep.
What type of avenues could we have for new and beginning teachers? I know several places have programs for that, but maybe there's something already in place where they could get to the front of the line.
This project, or you mean in general?
In general,
Oh.
yeah. But because this is the only project, large-scale project going in Gilroy.
Okay, so we can agendize that. We can put it on a future agenda, that discussion. We did express as a district that there are still issues regarding transportation, regarding the bus and crossing guards, et cetera. So there's still things to be talked about. And by the way, remember our joint meeting with the city is on September 25th.
And we do have on the 21st of September, Alexander Place transportation concerns
Oh, okay.
is a topic that we have.
Oh, good.
And I was wondering, Pat, out of those 3,000 applications, are they taking into consideration people who are local, or are these all outside applications, did they indicate?
They didn't indicate.
Yeah.
That's part of the plethora of rumors.
So maybe that item could be expanded and we could have the city come talk to us about
That would be nice.
this project.
That would be great.
Yeah, we can talk to them in our monthly meeting
Which is
coming up,
August 8th,
I believe,
next
like
Tuesday, I think.
the next week.
Yeah. So the Alexander Place is on the agenda for the 21st of September. So maybe we can just expand that a little bit. Okay. So the next regular meeting of the Board of Education will be held on Thursday, August 17th. Closed session will be held at 5:30, followed by open session at 7. The agenda will be available on the district's website by 5 on Friday, August 11th, 2017. That meeting is adjourned.